So I'm sitting here thinking about the difference between influence and authority. If I would have had to ask myself, I would say influence far reaches more than authority. Authority is only positional, it's only temporary. And the thing about authority is you're not always the most popular person. Now, that doesn't mean you get into a position of authority, you're automatically labeled as a bad person. But in authority, you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. So while you knowing that you're not going to be able to make everybody happy, how do you become a good influencer in a position of authority, right? How do you remain a good influencer outside of a position of authority? Well, I love using myself for example. I am in a position of authority, but I am not the top position of authority. I still am subject to whatever the top person thinks, right? I can have the greatest ideas, the most brilliant solutions to some of the most challenging problems. But if the higher or the greater authority does not feel or does not agree with what I think, then my ideas go out the door. So what I try and do, I become a good influencer. I love working with people. I like making people feel good about themselves. That's one thing that I enjoy the most, is giving a compliment, making a nice comment. I love to make people feel empowered. I've been in the IT business for the last 20 plus years, but now I'm trying to make a transition over to public speaking and coaching. And I really enjoy those two fields because I think that over the last 20 plus years of my professional career, I have enough data and enough information and seen enough things, seen many things, heard many things that I can give back, right? I'm a very analytical person. I like analyzing things. I like looking at things from all different levels. So while I am looking at things from all different levels, I identify myself as a good influencer. Just like I mentioned, I love working with people because sometimes, people can have a bad day. You don't know what happened before they came through the door. We label them like, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with her? Assume good intent from everyone, right? That's what they always tell you. Assume good intent for everyone. And I do my best to do that because I just like learning about people. And in the coaching field and in the speaking field, you're going to have to like people. You're going to have to like to be around people. You're going to have to be a good listener. So authority is good, but I thrive to be a good influencer because 10 years down the road, they won't remember Jeanette Ortegon, but they'll remember, that lady that I used to work with or who I work for. She was very positive, very upbeat. Or, Sam or, Johnny, Susie, they were very upbeat. One thing I know, people will never, they're not going to get your name right. They're not going to even remember how you look, but they will always remember how you made them feel. So regardless, if you're in a position of authority, you can't please everybody. But my advice to you is always do your best to make people feel good about themselves. First of all, they'll want to work harder for you. They'll want to take a bullet for you if you are that person that just makes them feel so good about themselves. You have to make sure that the lowest man on the totem pole feels like Zeus, right? You got to make sure that person who has the worst job that anybody can think of, especially if they're under your purview, you have to make them feel good about yourself, because not only will they work hard for you, they'll represent you better and more fairly when you're not around. So that's my message to you today. Influence versus authority. Authority is only temporary. So during that temporary span, be a good influencer, because there's nothing worse than 5 years from now, you running into one of your subordinates in the hallway. Hey, John. And they like, oh my God, you again. And you be like, what's wrong with John? And then it'll automatically come back to you. Maybe I wasn't the nicest person when John was in my section, or maybe I didn't treat John as fair as I should have, because I'm telling you, people don't leave jobs, they leave people. I'm just throwing that little nugget in there as well. But always be a good influencer. Always be cognitive of how you're treating people, especially when they're in your purview. Be blessed today, people.